It seems that pretty recently, indie games have just been running the market, with games like Powerworld and Hellis II all making big waves on the scene. With just those two games alone breaking plenty of records and player counts, I figured that it was only right and about time that I made my top 5 favorite indie games list. To try and switch it up to make it a little bit different, I'm not going to add Minecraft to this list. So it's not going to be on the list, but it's in our hearts. Just remember that. So yeah. I'm CloudRaids and welcome to the channel. But without further ado, let's get into this video and let's do this. Coming off here at number 5, I am going to have to start it off with Powerworld. Many of you already know what Powerworld is, but if you don't know what it is, Powerworld is an open world survival game where your main goal is to defeat these bosses and catch pals along the way. The pals themselves can be used from farming all the way up to helping you fight in combat. But it's not just any kind of combat, no, that's too simple. They use weapons. As in weapons, I mean pew-pews, if you're catching my drift. It's a really cool concept, and it's honestly pretty different from a lot of the stuff for this genre that we've seen before. But there is a reason that I have it at 5th and not any higher. And that's really because the game still has some kinks it needs to work out. Most notably, the anti-cheat. It's a fun game, but if you try to play on public servers, you're gonna realize very fast that there is a lot, and I mean a lot of hackers. Now they have addressed the situation, so they do know that it is bad. So they're not gonna leave us out to dry, and they've already said that they're working on a whole nother way of fixing it. But as of right now, when they catch a hacker, they just completely wipe the whole server. So if you've been on there for 5-6 hours, a hacker comes on, spawns some stuff, the whole server's wiped, your progress is gone. And it can be very frustrating to the players that have been on there for a while just to lose all their progress like that. Other than some slight cheater problems and some of the minor bugs, which have already been addressed and some have been already patched, this is a really fun and really good thought out game. If you haven't played it yet, which I recommend you do, I would say try a single player server. That's how I play it. I play by myself or I play with a couple of friends. Make your own server or join a friend's server. I wouldn't try the public lobbies just yet. I'd give that a little bit more time to get figured out so you're not wasting your time. Moving on here to number 4, we have Five Nights at Freddy's. All of them are pretty good, but I'm going to focus on number 1 for the sake of the video, since that was the one that kind of started it all off. The main gist of the gameplay is to keep checking your cameras because you work at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, and the animatronics come alive at night, so you have to survive all the way up to 6 in the morning. The gameplay itself is pretty simple, but I still think it's a very scary game.
What does that mean? Where is he? Oh my god.
Along with it being a scary game, there is just so much lore behind the game. I wish I could try to explain it to you guys, but it's a lot. You guys might want to go to Matt Pat for that, because he definitely knows a lot more about it than I could ever know in my entire life. But nonetheless, this game and all the other games that came after it here on the screen, they're all phenomenal games. The game actually did so good with players and got so popular that they made a whole movie about the game. But they're not just making one movie, no, they're making like 6 of them. They're making a lot of movies. If that tells you anything about how good the game might be, I definitely recommend checking it out. And for some reason, if the gameplay and the lore just isn't enough to flip that coin for you, the music that people make for this game is just mwah. I'm looking at you, the living tombstone, and even JT music, Five Nights at Freddy's. So yeah, let's move on. Coming along here at number 3, we have Hellis II, a game where you're fully committed with the community to go to war for democracy, fighting bugs and robots to stop them from taking over your galaxy. This game is just non-stop action. Every corner you turn, you're probably gonna die, from an enemy or from your fellow players. This game not only runs very well and is very fun to play, but it looks beautiful as well. Other than some server issues at launch, if you would have asked me if this is a AAA game or an indie game, I'd probably go with the AAA game. The commitment and dedication it must have took to do this is just crazy. I know it seems wild to have them placed so far up the list, especially because they just released, but this game just breaks barriers, whether that's between the PlayStation and just the PC community, or it breaks gaming barriers all across the scope. This game does what not a lot of other games do, and that shows the dynamic relationship between the devs and the player base themselves. With every fight you fight, every war you win, every time you die, all has significance, with how the end game's gonna be. Whether you win a territory or you lose a territory is not just based on you, it's based on your fellow Helldivers and their success along with yours. It really gives a sense of community and camaraderie in a way that you don't see a lot in other games. If you're on the edge and you want to see a more in-detail video about it, I recommend checking out the video that I made about it. It'll help you see if it tickles your fancy or if it's your cup of tea. Either way, who doesn't love shooting things and blowing stuff up? Those two things have had a chokehold on the gaming community since the beginning of the gaming community itself, let's be honest. I definitely think you should give it a look if you haven't already. Coming in here at number 2, I have Stardew Valley. This, unlike the other games mentioned before, is a very relaxing game. This is a game where you're going to be running your farm, which includes growing crops and raising your livestock. This game allows you to just take a deep breath and relax. From the gentle music to even the birds chirping, this game allows you to just be stress-free and enjoy yourself. The immersion of this game is just something else. You can play it on your computer, you can even play it on your Switch, you can play it where you want, when you want. You can just turn your brain off and have a good time. I'm usually the type of person where it's hard for me to focus on games like this. I need that pure dopamine to smack me across the face. But something about this game just draws me in. Something about the calm, countryside farm life just really gets me going. In a sense that maybe I should start growing crops myself, but it probably won't be as easy. But it's definitely a thought that came to my head after playing this game. Sometimes after a long day of work or school, you need a game that you can just come home and play to decompress. I understand, I've been there. And sometimes this is that game. There's no sweating involved, and there's no getting angry because somebody could stay at home all day and learn the new meta in a game. No, this is just simply you with your farm doing it your way. And sometimes the simplicity of a game is all you need to make that game truly incredible. It's not all the time that games catch your eye and just let you relax and have fun. Sometimes you get so caught up playing with friends or just even playing against others that you forget to just take that breath and truly enjoy yourself. I really like this game, and it even opened up a whole new genre for me when I thought I've tried almost everything. So if you find yourself just wanting to have a good time by yourself, I definitely think you should look into it. I think it's time for some honorable mentions. I think it goes without saying that indie games are some of the best games out there, and this was a really hard list to make. I couldn't fit all the good games in here, so games like Hollow Knight, Hades, and even Rocket League, I just couldn't fit into the list. While they are very good games and I have fun playing them, Rocket League even making an appearance in the esports, maybe I can fit them into a different kind of list to give them the flowers they deserve. Just because they're not on this list doesn't mean they won't appear somewhere in the future. These are all very great games, and they will have their time to shine. But as for this list, they just didn't make it. Maybe if I make a part 2, I can get them on there, but sadly, those are the honorable mentions. Coming in at number 1, we have the one and only Undertale. This game's popularity and success is definitely not a small one. It's no secret that this game is well beloved by millions of people. But if you don't know what Undertale is, it's an RPG-like game. While the graphics might not be the most beautiful in the world, it makes up for it in other aspects, like the amazing storytelling, or even just the great soundtrack. Hell, I'd even throw it up to even the minute details that just make this game great. Undertale really showed that you don't need $1 million budget to make $1 million game. With the game releasing all the way back in 2015, the community for the game is still around. It's definitely one of the more popular indie games out there. Back when the game first released, this was all the talk. Undertale was that game to play, and rightfully so. It's rare that you find a game that releases back in 2015 and still has a thriving community around it. If you're looking for a game to just sit down and play by yourself that can really get your brain to work, I recommend you play Undertale. This game is totally worth the money. If you want a game that's going to make your brain work and your heart pump, Undertale might be for you. I definitely enjoyed the game. I had a great time playing it. Even the characters themselves, I found myself really drawn to. It's the little things like that that can make a game go from good to great. Alright everybody, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. If y'all enjoyed it, let me know down in the comments. I know there's a lot of indie games that I didn't put on the list. Trust me, I know. This definitely wasn't an easy list to make. Let me know down in the comments what your number 1 was, because I'm pretty sure they all vary. Indie games have such a stacked cast that it's really hard just to pick one. Maybe you just thought my list was hot buns and y'all don't even like it. I'm all open for the criticism. Everybody has their own opinions, and these are just mine. But once again, I'm CloudRaids, and I love you guys. If y'all enjoyed it, make sure y'all leave a like, maybe subscribe. All the videos have been doing great, and I love you guys for it. I see it, and I just want to say thank you. I was afraid to acknowledge it before, because I don't want to jinx anything, but I had to let y'all know I'm truly thankful for everybody who watches the video, and everybody who just stops by. Whether you like the video or not, doesn't matter to me, because at the end of the day, I'm thankful y'all even gave it a shot. It's up to you guys, but I love you guys. Y'all have a great day, and like always, maybe a good night.